My name is Father Thomas Steinke. I'm currently serving at St. Anthony of Padua Parish in New Bedford, Massachusetts. Today we celebrate the feast of St. James, and I'm going to talk about how to use our authority effectively. A reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew. The mother of the sons of Zebedee approached Jesus with her sons and did him homage, wishing to ask for something. He said to her, "What do you wish?" She answered him, "Command that these two sons of mine sit, one at your right and the other at your left in your kingdom." Jesus said in reply, "You do not know what you are asking. Can you drink the chalice that I am going to drink?" They said to him, "We can." He replied, "My chalice you will indeed drink, but to sit at my right and at my left, this is not mine to give, but it is for those for whom it has been prepared by my Father." When the 10 heard this, they became indignant at the two brothers. But Jesus summoned them and said, "You know that the rulers of the Gentiles lord it over them, and the great ones make their authority over them felt. But it shall not be so among you. Rather, whoever wishes to be great among you shall be your servant. Whoever wishes to be first among you shall be your slave. Just so the Son of Man did not come to be served, but to serve and to give his life as a ransom for many." The Gospel of the Lord. Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ. Today we celebrate the feast of St. James. This James is the brother of John the Evangelist. The two were called by Jesus as they worked with their father in a fishing boat on the Sea of Galilee. St. Mark says they left their father Zebedee in the boat along with their hired men and followed him. James was one of the favored 3 who had the privilege of witnessing the transfiguration, the rising to life of the daughter of Jairus, and the agony in the garden at Gethsemane. 2 incidents in the Gospels describe the temperament of this man and his brother. On one occasion, James and John gave evidence that the nickname Jesus gave them, Sons of Thunder, was an apt one. The Samaritans would not welcome Jesus because he was on his way to the hated Jerusalem. When the disciples, James and John, saw this, they asked, "Lord, do you want us to call down fire from heaven to consume them?" Jesus turned and rebuked them. In today's Gospel, St. Matthew tells us that their mother came to ask that they have seats of honor, one on the right and one on the left in the kingdom. Jesus said in reply, "You do not know what you are asking for. Can you drink the cup that I am going to drink?" They said to him, "We can." Jesus told them that they would indeed drink the cup and share his baptism of pain and death, but that sitting at his right hand or his left was not his to give, but for those whom it had been prepared by my Father. So James did drink the cup Jesus drank of all too shortly after the resurrection. Acts 12:1 tells us that James was one of the first martyrs of the church. King Herod Agrippa I killed him with a sword in an early persecution of the church. There's a story that the man who arrested James became a convert after hearing James speak at his trial and was executed with him. He's the only apostle whose martyrdom is recorded in the New Testament. He is thus traditionally believed to be the first of the 12 apostles martyred for his faith. James is called James the Greater because another younger apostle was named James. He's called James the Lesser. His feast is May 3rd. He's the author of the letter of James and the leader of the Jerusalem community. I just want to conclude with one thing we can learn from the life of St. James. The other disciples became indignant at the ambition of James and John. Then Jesus taught them the very important lesson of humble service. The purpose of authority is to serve, not to lord it over them. This is the position of Jesus himself. He was a servant of all. The service imposed on him was the supreme sacrifice of his own life. So I was reading a papal homily, and the Pope noted 3 characteristics about Jesus' authority. First, he said that Jesus had an attitude of a servant, and this gave him authority. So people are always attracted to humble servants. In fact, one of the titles the popes kindly assigned to themselves is servant of the servants of God. The Pope continues, Jesus was very close to the people, and this gave him authority. So those in authority will have the most influence if they are loved. The reason why mothers are so influential is because we know they love us. John Paul II says, no matter how numerous our activities, our ministries, however numerous our concerns, our exertions, if there is no love, everything becomes meaningless. We are preparing ourselves in the best possible way for any kind of service, for any activity, for any charitable work when we proceed from love. So St. Paul was very authoritative and demanding in his preaching, and yet when St. Paul was leaving Ephesus, the Ephesians began to weep aloud and embrace Paul and repeatedly kissed him. One of the reasons St. Paul was so effective is because he was loved. Finally, the Pope says that Jesus lived what he preached. There was a harmony between what he thought, felt, and did. St. Anthony Mary Claret says that the best and most efficacious way to edify and move people is by way of example, by poverty, generosity, abstinence from food, by mortification and self-denial. Pope Benedict XVI talks about how he was edified by the witness of Pope St. John Paul II. He said, I would like to thank him for the great witness of faith that he gave me day after day, for the cordiality, the humanity, the joy, and kindness that he communicated, for teaching me by his life how to treat my neighbor and what humility is. So when we're put in a position of authority, we must have an attitude of service flowing from a palpable love of God and neighbor. And we must not only be talking the talk, but also walking the walk.
Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoyed hearing the gospel and homily, I invite you to share it with someone you know who may also find it rewarding, and also to subscribe to the Catholic Voice channel. Please see in the description below if you would like to receive a text message for each daily gospel and homily. Please also keep our missionary priests throughout the world in your prayers. Thank you, and God bless.